All right, thanks, guys. The Kings take on the Raptors. That's going to be a 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Toronto. The Raptors opened the betting as the 10.5 point favorite in the total at 228. And since those markets opened this one up, we're actually seeing a little bit of money toward Toronto in the early going here. We're also seeing a little bit of movement upward on the total as well. Right now, the Raptors are minus 11 with the total moving upward to 228 and a hook. So once again, the Raptors open 10.5 up to minus 11. Total open 228 up to 228 and a hook. Right now, 76% of the consensus is leaning toward Toronto. And at the moment, Sacramento is plus 440 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Sacramento to get the job done, covering the number on the road in this spot here, just keep in mind they failed to cover in 7 out of their last 9 on the second of a back-to-back. So just 2-7 against the spread in their last 9 in the second of a back-to-back. They're also covering 35% of their games as the official road underdog. When it comes to the Toronto side of things, well, they rank 6th in scoring in the association, 6th in field goal percentage, and 5th in free throw shooting. And when it comes to the scoring, Toronto's 8-4 to the under in their last dozen at home. Sacramento, 80% to the under in their last 5 when traveling. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Toronto minus 11 and the under 228.5 in that one. And before we go ahead and move on, I just want to take a quick timeout and just welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Tuesday's NBA action. But before we dive into some more of that, I just want to quickly remind you to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage with a documented win percentage of 60% for the entire year of 2017. You're certainly costing yourself some valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed to that website. Now, memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. There's also plenty of free content there as well. So once again, please feel free to just hit that pause button right now. Open up your browser. All you got to do is type in patreon.com/BrockPage. It'll only take you a couple of seconds. The link is in the description section below. And if you are a current patron of mine and you are watching me right now, I simply cannot thank you enough. You most certainly make it all worth it. And with all that said and done, let's go ahead and hop right back into some more lines and personal leans for Tuesday's NBA action. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Trailblazers at the Thunder, 8 o'clock tip-off at OKC. The Thunder opened the betting as the 5.5 point favorite and the total at 229. And since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing steady money on OKC. We're also seeing steady movement downward on the total. Right now, that total's moved down to 227 with OKC moving up to -6. So once again, OKC opened 5.5 up to -6. Total open 229 down to 227. 65% are leaning OKC, 55% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Portland's plus 215 for some money line cash. Now, if you like Portland in an upset, just keep in mind they're taking on an OKC team who's 14-5 straight up in their last 19 at home. They're also covering 73% of their games, taking on teams over 550. Now, Portland, on their side of things, well, they rank just 20th in road field goal percentage, 24th in defending the 3-ball, and they rank 18th in road defensive scoring. Now, when it comes to the total, Portland's 25% to the over at the total, just 28% to the over in their second of a back-to-back. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean OKC -6 and the under 227 in that matchup there. All right, next game, Clippers, Mavericks, 8:30 tip-off in Dallas. The Mavs open -5 with the total at 225. And since those markets opened this one up, no real surprises here, as we've seen a steady and significant fade of the Mavs in the early going here. We're also seeing a little bit of movement upward on the total as well. Right now, Dallas is -3.5 with the total moving upward to 225 and a hook. So once again, Dallas open -5, down to -3.5. Total open 225, up to 225 and a hook. 51% are leaning toward Dallas, and at the moment, the Clippers are plus 160 for some money line cash. Now, if you like the Clippers on the road, just keep in mind they're taking on a Mavericks team who is 13-5 against the spread in their last 18 at home. They also rank second in the association in home defensive rebounding. Meanwhile, on the Clippers side of things, Lou Williams is questionable with a hammy, and Gallinari's out with a back injury. The Clippers are also covering just 36% of their games when catching the points. Now, scoring-wise, the Clippers are 5-1 to the under in their last 6. Dallas, 80% to the under in their last 5. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and take Dallas -3 and the under 225.5 in that one. All right, next and final game for our NBA slate. It is going to be Minnesota at Phoenix. 9 o'clock tip-off at the Talking Stick Resort. The T-Wolves open the betting as the 6-point favorite, and the total at 228.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're actually seeing a steady and consistent fade of Minnesota in the early going here. We're seeing movement upward on the total as well. Right now, Minnesota's -4.5, with the total moving upward to 229 and a hook. So once again, the Timberwolves open 6, down to -4.5. Total open 228.5, up to 229 and a hook. 52% are leaning Minnesota, 55% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Phoenix is +185 for some money line cash. Now, Phoenix is just 2-11 straight up in their last 13. They rank 29th in the association in offensive rebounding. Meanwhile, on the T-Wolves side of things, they're covering 60% of their games, taking on teams under 450. When it comes to the scoring, Phoenix is 14-10 to the under at home. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and take Minnesota -4 and the under 229.5 in that one. All right, we're going to go ahead and slide into some college basketball, beginning with Auburn at South Carolina, 6:30 tip-off at the Gamecocks. Now, Auburn opened the betting as the 7-point favorite, and the total at 154.5. And since those markets opened this one up, no real surprises here as Auburn's taking a little bit of money in the early going. We're also seeing movement upward on the total as well. Right now, Auburn's -8 with the total moving upward to 155. So all that said and done, Auburn, once again, open -7, up to -8. Total open 154.5, up to 155. The Tigers, well, 62% of the consensus is leaning towards them, and 61% is shaded toward the over. At the moment, South Carolina is +300 for some money line cash. And if you like South Carolina to cover the points at home, they are 4-1 against the spread in their last 5, 5-1 straight up in their last 6. Auburn on the other side, well, they failed to cover in 7 out of their last 10 on the road, dating back to last season. They also rank 182nd in road defensive rebounding. Now, scoring-wise, Auburn's 4-2 to the under in their last 6 on the road. Meanwhile, on the South Carolina side of things, they're 3-3 to the under when the line was more than 145. So with all that said and done, I'm going to take the home dog in this one. Give me South Carolina +8 and the under 155 in that one. All right, next game, it is going to be Mississippi State at Kentucky. That is a 7 o'clock tip-off at Kentucky. The Wildcats open the betting as the 8-point favorite, and the total at 144.5. And since those markets open that one up, we're seeing a steady and consistent fade of Kentucky in the early going here. They're down to -6.5. We're also seeing movement downward on the total as well. That moved down to 144. So once again, Kentucky open -8, down to -6.5. Total open 144.5, down to 144. 64% is leaning toward Kentucky, 70% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Mississippi State Bulldogs are +250 for some money line cash. Now, if you like the Bulldogs to get the job done in this one, it's going to be tough sledding for them. It's going to be tough sledding for you as a backer. They're taking on a Kentucky squad who ranks 2nd in the nation in defensive rebounding. They're also shooting 49% from the field. Mississippi State on the other side, well, they failed to cover in 4 out of their last 6. They're also 0-5 against the spread after 4 or less days off. Now, when it comes to the scoring, Kentucky is 80% to the over when the line was between 132 to 145. So very big. Who came up with that stat? Very big number there. A very big range. But Kentucky's 80% to the over when the line was between 132 and 145. I don't know how much that's going to help us here. But anyway, I'm going to purchase the half a point, slide it down, and take Kentucky -6 and the over 144 in that one. That's so funny because I do all my own writing. So obviously I know who wrote it, but that's a bizarre stat. Anyway, next game, Wake Forest at Virginia, 9 o'clock tip-off at Virginia. The Cavaliers open 24 with the total at 131, and no surprises as we're actually seeing a fade of Virginia. That's an incredibly high spread with such a low total. But anyway, we've seen a 2-point fade of UVA in the early going here. We're also seeing slight movement upward on the total as well. Right now, the Cavaliers are minus 22 with the total moving upward to 131 and a hook. So once again, Virginia opened 24 down the